Hello, everyone. In 1796, George Washington, the first president of the United States, was preparing to leave office after his second term as president. He had been encouraged by many of his supporters to run for a third term, but George Washington felt that was inappropriate. At the time, it was legal, but since then, the Constitution has been changed, limiting presidents to 2 terms. But it is interesting that George Washington, who could have become King of America, chose to only serve 2 terms and to ensure that there was a change in leadership. As he was leaving, he wrote an address to the nation to explain why he wasn't running and to express his viewpoint about the future and to give some warnings about things that he was seeing develop in our country that he felt could be a risk to the future of democracy. His address is 26 pages long, and it's written in extremely flowery, somewhat archaic wording that's difficult to understand today in 2025. So I thought it would be great if I could ask AI to abbreviate his remarks down to a couple of pages and to modernize the language without changing the intent or the tone to give us an easier way of understanding what George Washington was saying. And so this is the output of that. So this is AI-generated abbreviation and modernization of George Washington's farewell address to the nation. And I'm going to read it to you, and then hopefully this will open up some discussion and we can talk about it in the future. So, to my fellow Americans, as I prepare to leave the presidency and return to private life, I want to express my gratitude for your trust and support during my time in office. Serving as your leader has been the highest honor of my life, and I hope my actions have upheld the values that bind us as a nation. After deep reflection and prayer, I've decided not to seek a third term as president. This decision was not easy, but I believe in the importance of change in leadership to ensure fresh perspectives and ideas that serve the public good. My withdrawal from political life should remind us all that no individual is indispensable to the progress of our nation. The unity of our nation is vital. We must rise above sectional differences and the temptation to let regional interests outweigh our commitment to the whole. Differences in geography, economy, and local priorities should not divide us. Rather, they should enrich our collective identity. Our strength lies in being one people, united by shared values, a common constitution, and a dedication to liberty and justice. Beware of political parties and factions. They are likely to divide the nation and encourage hostility. Parties often provoke the spirit of revenge and competition, which distracts from the goal of serving the public good. These cycles of retaliation can lead to the erosion of public trust in government. By stirring up resentment and hostility, parties can undermine the unity necessary to govern effectively and encourage groups to prioritize their own interests over those of the nation. Moreover, political parties can lead to the corruption of democratic principles. In their pursuit of power, they may resort to unethical practices such as bribery, favoritism, or manipulation of the electoral process. This behavior can disrupt the balance of power and weaken the foundations of liberty. When citizens align themselves exclusively with a party, they risk neglecting their duty to the nation as a whole, jeopardizing the stability and integrity of our democracy. A free government relies on an informed and engaged citizenry. It is your responsibility as Americans to educate yourselves on the principles of liberty and justice, to participate in civic life, and to elect leaders who will act in the best interests of the nation. Democracy flourishes when citizens are vigilant, thoughtful, and committed to the ideals of our republic. Another danger that I must warn against is foreign influence. The independence and sovereignty of our nation are precious and must be safeguarded. Avoid long-term alliances or attachments to foreign nations, as these can compromise our ability to act in our own interest and drag us into conflicts that do not concern us. It is wise to maintain friendly relations with all nations, while preserving our ability to remain neutral and free from entangling obligations. Foreign influence, whether through direct action or subtle manipulation, poses a threat to our freedom and independence. Maintaining peace and goodwill with other nations requires wisdom, restraint, and an unwavering commitment to our principles. Let us cultivate commercial ties and mutual respect, but resist the temptation to become overly involved in the political affairs of others. Our focus should always be on preserving peace, prosperity, and the ability to act according to our own interests. In closing, I leave you with my heartfelt thanks for allowing me to serve as your president. I hope my efforts have contributed to the progress of our nation and the preservation of its values. As I step away, I trust you will continue to safeguard the principles of liberty, unity, and democracy. Farewell, and may the United States of America forever remain a beacon of freedom and justice. Anyway, as I said, that was an abbreviated and modernized version of George Washington's farewell address. Please go out and read it. I'll try to provide a link to it in the description. Please go out and read the entire thing, and we'd love to hear your comments on how well you think the AI actually did with summarizing that, and with your thoughts on George Washington's farewell address in general. I will talk to you guys next time.